Hi guys, welcome back to Saving Salvage, welcome back to another video, and we are back on the A3 today purely because it is stuck on the ramp and I've got other cars that I want to get on there to start working on. So that is the reason we're doing the A3. Not actually 100% sure which order I'm going to be showing you the videos in, but this is where we're at anyway. So, bit of bad news on the gearbox front. I ordered one, so basically, went through all the comments about whether to replace the gearbox with a second-hand unit or to repair our fifth gear synchro, and I think overwhelmingly it was decided that I should go with the second-hand gearbox just because it just makes sense on most levels. The only downside would be obviously the content of repairing it and then fitting it back for you guys. However, I feel like I've addressed most of that anyway because I have stripped the gearbox, we've looked at the problem, we found the problem. To repair it, it would just be a case of getting getting the bearing popped off, pressed off, getting the gear synchro hub popped off and fitting new ones on and putting it back together. So I feel like I've probably covered 95% of a gearbox rebuild just as we are now. So I'm happy with that bit. So I have bought the second-hand gearbox. It does make sense. It's cheaper, quicker, and I get a bit of warranty on it. So that is the reason I've done that. However, it's turned out not so great. So gearbox turned up Friday. It's now Monday. I've just unwrapped it, and it's completely the wrong gearbox. It's not even close to being correct. Looking around it, I mean, it's just completely different. There's nothing the same about this gearbox. I've had a look at the code, it's completely different code. So I've been back on the eBay listing. The eBay listing is for the correct gearbox, they've just sent me the wrong one. So it puts me in a bit of a sticky situation because obviously for them to take that gearbox back, send the correct one out, we're talking probably 4 to 5 days, and I just don't have time. And I don't want to have to waste time leaving the A3 on the ramp without a gearbox in for 4 to 5 days. It's just no good. So I've come up with a decision. And as you can see here, look, here is, obviously there's the gearbox, there's the casing for it. And here is my 6-speed manual transmission from a Golf diesel. And as you can see, look, I'm lining them up side by side, and that is because I'm going to fit this gearbox. I've been round it completely. The casing is absolutely 100% identical to the A3 casing, even down to the part number of the casing. Look, the part number of the casings are both the same as well. I have been over the gearbox, everything about it, and it is an identical gearbox. So I'm going to take the plunge and I'm going to fit this gearbox. I've been online, I've tried to find out the gear ratios for the 2 different gearboxes. I have found some information. I don't know whether it's 100% correct or not. However, comparing the ratios, it doesn't look too dissimilar, to be fair. First gear is obviously a bit longer. Second gear is a tiny bit longer. It looks like third and fourth are pretty much the same, and fifth and sixth are a tiny bit longer as well. So as far as I'm concerned, I don't think it's going to be a problem at all. If anything, probably get some added fuel efficiency cruising down the motorway at 80 at 1500 RPM. So it might even be a good thing. So the first thing we've got to do then is, obviously I'll remove the, do I put a new slave cylinder on it? I might get a price. If it was only like 20 quid, I'll put a new slave cylinder on it. And obviously we need to replace this switch as well. I was going to replace it even if it wasn't damaged, because just in case the pinouts are slightly different going from Volkswagen to Audi. So we're going to replace the reverse light switch, take off that slave. I'm going to get a price now on a new slave cylinder. And then we'll have to fit the transfer box to this, fit the transfer box, get the drive shaft hubs back in, and then I'm going to fill the transfer box back up with fluid. And I'm also, I don't know whether to, no, I'm going to wait till it's in the car, and then once the gearbox is effectively sealed up with the transfer box and the half shafts, the flanges in place, I'm then going to obviously check that it's got no gearbox oil in it, and if it does, I'm draining it out because I'm putting my expensive gear oil back in this gearbox. Also, another thing I'm going to do is I'm going to remove the clutch just to check it. I'm not going to replace it if it doesn't need replacing, because that's just pointless. But I am going to remove it just to check it, just to make sure it has got a lot of life still left in it. I've just phoned up, a slave cylinder is 40 quid, so considering I'm now going to save 230 quid on the gearbox, I've bought that slave cylinder. I have just got to go collect it. So I've just whipped out the clutch. It's only about 9mm bolts, and no, the clutch is absolutely fine. It's got loads of life still in it, so I'm not just going to start replacing stuff for the sake of it, especially that, because that's about 200 quid for a new one, maybe a little bit less, but still, it's still an unnecessary cost, especially when it doesn't need it. So that clutch is absolutely fine. And I've cleaned up the flywheel as well, got all the clutch dust out of there, and we'll just clean the face of it, and that looks absolutely fine as well. And there's also, it's in good condition as well, it's not worn or anything, the flywheel, so that's fine as well. So they are going back in. I've just gone and picked up a slave cylinder as well. Don't know why, it's metal, but I don't know what the benefits of metal is over a plastic one, but I have a new metal slave cylinder. So that will be going in the gearbox as well, and then we can start rebuilding. Right, so that is now the transfer box back on. I've put the oil back in it. The oil looked fine, so I didn't bother replacing it. It was fine, so that's gone back in. And I've just put my new slave cylinder on as well. So now that means the gearbox is ready to go back in. Right, the gearbox is in and it is back in the car. Most things are done up now. So engine mount all back in. That's all gone in perfectly. And what I've just done is I've just attached my gear linkage cables and I've set them up. Weirdly, I don't actually know what this part is called. Gear selector crown thing. It's this anyway. So this was off the diesel gearbox, so it was the original for this gearbox, but for some reason that sleeve was a lot thicker than the sleeve on the other one. Not sure why, don't really see the benefit of that, but luckily it's quite easy. All I had to do was just swap over this part from the old gearbox to the new gearbox, straight fit, straight swap, and that meant our gear linkage cable then fit on properly. I've just aligned everything up, just set it up properly. I don't know if I've said this before, but to set the gear linkage up, let me just put a torch there so you can see. What you do is you have to push this selector down, and then there's a pin down here. See that pin there? So what you do is you push it all the way down, push the pin in, and then let it pop up about halfway. The pin then pushes in all the way, and then you just flick it up, flick the pin up like that, and then that locks the gearbox into neutral then. And then what you do is you pull this bit here, and on this one as well, you just pull it back and then twist to the left, and that locks it in adjustment position. And then you'll have to pull your gear gator shroud trim up like this, and then under here, under the gear lever, there's a little hole. See that little hole there, look, on the bottom of the gear? I can't even put it in gear now because I've locked it. But there's a hole here, just a little small hole, and there's another hole in the body of the car down there. And I just use, as you can see here, look, just a drill bit, because that fits nicely. And what you do is you put your drill bit through those two holes, which locates your gear lever in the exact neutral position. So now you've got your gearbox locked, you've got your gear lever locked in a neutral position, you've got your gear linkage cables in an adjustable position. So now everything is in the correct position, and all you've got to do is literally twist them back to the right, and they just flick back and they lock into position, both of them. And then that is your gear linkage cables all set. And then just to unlock it, just push it down, there you go, just pops back out, look. And then just pull your drill bit or whatever out of the gear gator, and that is how you set up your gear linkage. And I've just checked and we have all 7 gears, that's 1 to 6 and reverse, they all go in nicely. I've also bled the clutch today. Actually, I've just realised I'm not doing very well today, am I? I keep doing things and then telling you after I've done them. Yeah, I've done the clutch as well, which is here, look, you've got the slave cylinder here and you've got that little rubber cap. You pull that cap off and it's on this, I think it was an 11mm spanner. Just crack that nipple off, and I've got a bleed bottle which I just put on, just like you're doing a brake fluid change. And then I just kept pumping the clutch, crack the nipple back tight again, pump, crack it off, just keep bleeding it, and then I've got a clutch pedal back. So that's all done as well. So I've got my 6 gears and my reverse, that's all good. So now what I'm going to do is carry on putting this back together. So what I've got left to do down the bottom is drive shafts, and we've got battery to put back in, battery tray, and just a few bolts in the quarter pipe down the bottom. Right, it's all back together now. I've just started it, as you can hear, and I've just tested the gears. Clutch works, gears work, it goes into all 7 gears. So that is good. So now we've just got to move the Porsche out of the way, and then we can take it out for a road test, and hopefully that means it's now done. And before we start, yes, I have had a haircut midway through this video before anyone thinks they're going mad. Right, we have the A3 on the ground. I have just reversed it out of the workshop, as you just saw, and we have more bloody problems. Misfiring again, so I've just pulled it back in, had a look, now it's on cylinder 2, so I can't be asked for looking around again, so I've just ordered 3 coil packs, so that will be then all 4 changed then, so I can't be asked for that problem again. So it's going to have 4 new coil packs. That's going to eliminate any bloody misfiring issues that we're going to have with this on the next road test. But driving out of the workshop and back in again, the gearbox felt very tight. It felt very smooth. Nothing like the old gearbox that came out of it that just felt a little bit loose and a bit worn. This feels really tight, so I'm wondering whether it's a lot less mileage. I mean, I don't know, it has come out of a Golf diesel, so it just might have had a lot less abuse, but it felt really nice. Didn't really notice a difference driving around in first, second and reverse with ratios, so that's a good thing. So yeah, well, hopefully it will come back in about 5 seconds, and I would have bought 3 new coil packs and fitted them. Well guys, I have just fitted the other 3 coil packs, so we now have 4 new coil packs and hopefully no more misfire issues. I must have taken the engine cover off now 100 times, and I hate it every single time because they're a pain in the arse. So, I'm now hoping we should have no, well, it's revving, so that's a start. So hopefully we have no misfire issues now, and we're going to go out on our first road test. Oh, I don't want to put the seatbelt on, don't it stink? Oh, bloody hell. Right, first. I'm just going to go through the gears and this will be the indication straight away. First and second are good. Third's good. I'm not going to get to fifth. I'm going to have to pull out onto the main road to get to fifth. Right, let's test out this gearbox, see if I can actually tell the difference. Because obviously I know it's a diesel gearbox, so I'm looking for a change. I'm trying to look at it as if, would I really notice a difference? Gearbox is definitely nicer, it just feels a lot tighter. And I don't know, I've got a truck. Let me clear this truck and we'll give it a little blip just to see what our in-gear ratios are, like rev counter, RPM to speed. And also, by the way, while I had the gearbox out, I think I found the reason it was covered in oil. There was a little gasket on the end of the cam chain adjuster, camshaft adjuster on the right hand side above the gearbox, and it was just leaking out of there slightly. So at the minute I've temporarily fixed it. I've just removed it, I've cleaned all the gasket up and just put a little bit of silicone just at the bottom, just so I don't get oil going all over my new gearbox, and I've ordered a seal for it. So that seems to have cured it, because I've had it running for about half an hour and there's no oil leaking out now, so I think that's cured it, which is good. So let's just go around here, but gearbox seems fine. Engine's fine as well now. Oh, there's still traffic everywhere. There's literally traffic everywhere, I can't do anything. But no, it feels nice, feels good. It's just no, I'm gonna still wait. I want a nice solid through the gears. I'm gonna wait for as long as possible. Right, let's test. Second gear pull. 6,000 RPM, 50. Obviously 60. For some reason, it's not going any faster than 60. I can only do the speed limit. I don't know what's wrong with it. No, gearbox is sweet. I've gone through all the gears then. It's all sweet. Right, 60 miles an hour is just over 2,000 RPM. So I don't know how dissimilar that is, to be fair, to a petrol gearbox. I'm pretty sure it's not. I'm pretty sure a petrol will be at just over 60,000. I'm pretty sure a petrol gearbox would be just over 2,000 RPM at 70 as well. So I think, guys, that is a gamble that is paid off well, and also it saved me £225 in the process, which I'm very happy with. This car, guys, is done. Quick, someone buy it before it gives me more problems. Right, guys, I think that is the end of the video, because I think that is the end of the A3. I've just taken it for probably a 10-minute test drive. Gearbox is spot on, really nice and tight, as I was saying. All the gears now work, and if I'm honest, I cannot tell the difference between that and the petrol gearbox. I couldn't see an issue at all. So I'm happy with that. So I think that is the end. I think it's just driven faultlessly for 10 minutes. Obviously, I'm probably over the next week or so going to take it out a bit more and just probably get a couple of 100 miles under the belt just to make sure it is fully okay. But I think that is done. So, guys, if anyone is actually interested in the car, just DM me on Instagram or on email me using my about info on the YouTube homepage. I will put up another video on it, the last one, which was just going to go through the cost of the car, the total breakdown of what it cost me, how much I spent on parts. And also I'll talk to you about the other stuff, because obviously this car's HPI clear, I've got a book pack, I've got service history, so I'll go through all that as well in the next video, or maybe as an addition to another video. So I'll let you know. I might even put it on Instagram, I'm not sure yet. But guys, that is the end of the A3, I think. So guys, that is it. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video, and it's going to be the Porsche. Cheers, guys.